joining me, Luke. It is great to connect with you for our HR Leaders series, and I'm really thrilled to connect in what has been a really chaotic time, I'm sure, the last 10 weeks.
Sure has.
So thank you for your time. And look, all organisations have been impacted really differently through this crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And, as the Chief People Officer for Dentsu Aegis Network, fondly known as Dan, for Australia and New Zealand, I'm really keen to hear about how you've been as an HR leader navigating through these times. Can I start by asking, how has COVID-19 impacted the business, both globally and locally?
Well, Mel, we're a big place. We're 45,000 people in 140 locations with 11,000 clients. In ANZ, we have 1,600 very talented people. So it's no surprise that the communications industry across media, marketing and advertising has been significantly impacted, which has meant now more than ever we've had to act responsibly. I think for Dentsu and our business in ANZ, a one-size-fits-all approach doesn't work. We have three very distinct lines of business in media, CRM and creative. And, in addition to a very specialist sports and entertainment business, which has been dramatically impacted through the stoppages of the AFL. So we've had some parts of our business that have been impacted through servicing airline clients, for example, particularly in our digital creative services areas, and other parts of our business like Cara and our team for Woolworths, which has been absolutely flat out. I mean, we own a gaming business in SMG, which has seen exponential revenue growth. So I think what we do know, Mel, is like you in a services business, it is highly competitive even in times of downturn. And what we've remained as a priority is our people. Our primary focus has been our people and protecting our clients and really ensuring we're ready for when the bounce back happens.
Absolutely. And as an HR leader, what have been the key priorities in both responding but also planning for the new normal, whatever that might look like?
Look, I think one of the first challenges you face in this situation is the unknowns and the uncertainty. How long will it last? Will our people be safe? How impacted will the economy be? And what impact will that have on our forecasts? So there has been no blueprint or playbook for a situation like this, even taking into consideration learnings from the GFC. So, like many in our HR community, this will probably be the most challenging time we've ever faced in our careers. And, an unprecedented situation requires an unprecedented response. So I'm so very proud of my own team that they've been unbelievably good in how they've navigated this situation. And, without doubt, there's never been a more important time to control the controllables. And I'm really proud of our leadership team, and I think they've done a terrific job at doing that.
And what stretched you as an HR leader during this time?
I think the realities of isolation, Mel. Leaders are human, if you can believe that. So for me, I inherited a new colleague and my wife, Nicole, in working from home. And I think, that changes the dynamics of our household and households around Australia. I think I'm really fortunate that Nicole also works in human resources, so sharing insights in how we can navigate, the bushfires, floods, really difficult Q1, and now COVID in Q2, which has been challenging for both of us. It definitely wasn't in my 2020 goals that I'd be homeschooling and be a prep teacher. Lockie, who's 5, is beautiful and fun, and that's been really hard. I must admit, while trying to work at the same time, and I've also got a 3-year-old daughter, Sienna, who hasn't been in childcare. So, she's beautiful and naughty. And, when we're all working under the one roof, it's had its challenges, but I'm sure I'll look back on it fondly. I think commercially managing what is a global crisis for all companies, as a senior HR professional, you're pulling on so many components of your skill base at any one time. I think from commercially managing very difficult decisions around costs to adjusting strategy in flight to modelling outcomes that unfortunately will have a significant impact on your people. And, that comes with dealing with a really heightened level of emotion. And I think what I would say is, I must have read, as you would have, hundreds of articles on leadership in a virtual environment. And I think there are some really core pillars that make leaders great, particularly, my executive team, what good looks like. And I think those pillars are communication. I think, it's important to communicate well and often and make yourself available at all levels of your reporting structure. I think focusing on outcomes and really being clear on the goals of the business and your people to create certainty in a time of great uncertainty and really be clear on your expectations. I think genuine, heartfelt care for your people and making time to listen and making time to respond is important. Making things as safe as possible. I think safety comes from doing what you say you're going to do and sharing information openly and being honest. I think honesty builds trust. And I think finally just, being yourself. You do you. If you have really positive intent and, you're living your values, I think all will be well as a leader. And I don't think those things change, whether your environmental factors change, your work from home situation changes. I think that they're pretty good, solid pillars to follow as a leader.
Definitely agree. And on that note, what have your fellow executives lent on you for more so during these times?
Look, I'm really lucky to be a part of a great executive group. It's a new group with some really talented and emerging leaders. I think the ask is different for everyone, subject to the commercial position they find themselves in. But as a group, this situation has brought us closer together. I think coping is an interesting way to think about it. I think our focus has really been on the silver linings of the situation and what it's afforded us, and what we're collectively learning through it. I think I'm leaning on them as much as they're leaning on me. We're all watching the same news services. We're all consuming the same government information and, together in real time. And I think therefore I'm definitely leaning on them. And, often people look to the HR department to solve those issues, but really they're issues that we've all faced. I think what it is doing is it's absolutely fast-tracking leadership development, just situationally fast-tracking leadership development. And I know I've seen an enormous amount of growth in my team. And although commercially they're facing really different challenges, there's been a real commonality to how they've dealt with this together. And I think that's been a great thing for our group.
And we've heard a lot of the word pivot. It's been a really well-used word across the globe. Has there been opportunities for the business to do things differently and understanding the complexity in multiple brands in a global context? What is the business looking at in terms of doing things differently?
Without a doubt, it's an opportunity for us to do things differently. I think all organisations are. How do we assess client and partner opportunities that have presented themselves during this time? I think, what is our reflection on travel expenditure, both, the time and cost of commuting, client meetings off-site, interstate and global travel budgets. I mean, it's definitely been part of my own personal reflection, Mel, that, even travelling from Sandringham to South Melbourne every day, I'm interstate in Sydney every fortnight, globally once a quarter. So it's definitely something to think about in terms of my own productivity. I think from a business operations point of view, I think assessing capacity of the organisation, how you transfer skill, our attitude to flexible work. I think our D&I committee over the last 2 years has done a really great job of making that okay for our people. But I think it's a great thing in Australia that stigma of work from home is now fundamentally reduced. And, I think that's a big opportunity. I think organisational design models have really been tested during this phase. The concept of borderless resourcing, getting rid of state-based model designs, and how you look at capability across national structures and the capacity of those structures. I think getting your talent to the biggest problems is now far easier in a virtual environment. So I think that's definitely a learning, and also. New communication approaches. We've completely changed the operating rhythm of the business, how we talk to our people. Our board now meets fortnightly and, we're making much more informed and faster decisions. Our market incident team was meeting daily, now is meeting weekly and, really readying ourselves for return to work. So, So yeah, look, I think there's been a huge amount of opportunity, and it really has allowed us to look at things differently.
And the opportunities for HR moving forward, things have moved more quickly in the people and culture space. How will that change the way HR is considered within your business?
Yeah, I think it'll change our practices without doubt. I think understanding HR's value is really important. You know, amongst the HR industry, there have been, you know, conversations over the last couple of years that you would have been exposed to around the impact that HR is having on organisations, and, you know, are we wanted? But I think this situation has proved two things. I think, one, that we are absolutely needed. We're highly valued, and we add significant commercial value to organisations during this time. And I think, secondly, is the importance of HR analytics. You know, accurate people data and analytical capacity of HR departments is such an important part of our future. We're fortunate at Dentsu that we've been on a 3-year HR transformation journey where we looked at people and systems and processes that really underpin the entirety of the organisation. And that includes the implementation of our global HRIS system, which now houses 37,000 people. And we've also adopted a Salesforce tool called People Matters. We've phrased People Matters, which manages all our manager and employee inquiry data in an automated way that provides automated responses. So I feel fortunate that at Dentsu we've been lucky that we've had investment ahead of the curve, which is a real credit to our global HR director, Anna Moulton. And, you know, I think that big investment in systems and people and analytics is a sign that she's a really clear thinker. But I think that investment is really going to pay off, particularly as we enter this new phase in terms of the new world of work.
Absolutely. And hindsight, of course, is a wonderful thing. What do you wish you knew 6 months ago?
Good question, Mel. Hindsight is a wonderful thing. I think while it would have been great predicting global markets, you know, I've really loved learning through this situation. I think changes will be dramatically changed, both in application and mindset, as we enter the new world of work with a bit of a blank piece of paper. I think what I would say is I'm amazed at how prepared we were to have 1,600 people working from home within 48 hours. It allowed us to take a real leadership position. I think it's a real credit to our technology department and our operations department and my own team that we were able to do that seamlessly and still provide really high levels of servicing to our clients. Probably hindsight's taught me that we were far more ready than I first realised, and our people have adapted to this really quickly, which has been fantastic.
And during this crisis, how have you been managing your own well-being?
Look, believe it or not, Mel, my own well-being has improved dramatically. Look, I know this has been so hard for people around the globe, and you know, I'm very fortunate that my family is together and well. But I think, you know, managing my own well-being, I think routine is super important. You know, getting up, exercising daily, getting the right amount of sleep, eating well. Definitely taking breaks to avoid that virtual blur of sitting in front of a screen all day. And it's quite unique to take a call on your mobile now, which is a bit weird. You know, so I think, you know, that the importance of being mindful, you know, managing that roller coaster of emotions that you have throughout the day. And at a personal level, I know being home more and being a more available and present dad has been great for my own mental health. You know, I've loved cooking dinner and bath time and streaming a show and doing all those things that are difficult in executive life sometimes. So for me, you know, I've really enjoyed that process, but also keeping in mind it's different for everyone, subject to your situation.
Certainly. And key learning for HR, do you think, out of this whole pandemic?
For us, it was the importance of planning. You know, we have a really strong annual people plan that's globally aligned, and the ability to pivot your HR function really quickly is really subject to how well that plan is in place. And I think it's just a really underrated component of an executive skill set is the ability to plan. We, within the first week, had pivoted a lot of our learning programs, if you take that as a case in example, to running virtual webinars. Those webinars were really around helping our people cope with stressful situations, but also they were around managing leading performance in a virtual environment. So we had a huge amount of uptake in those programs within the first 4 weeks, which was fantastic. We also have a system that we call Skills Academy, which is an online learning tool. And we've seen a huge uptake of that tool, and again, probably investing ahead of the curve around programs like time management and project management and leading virtually. So it's been great for our team to monitor that and really see the uptake and success. And no doubt we'll see a significant return on investment as a result of being able to continue to teach our people so they can grow and learn and continue to get better even in this environment.
Definitely. Restrictions have somewhat lifted now, very different to a few weeks back. What was the first thing you enjoyed once restrictions were lifted a little?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think I think about this quite a lot. I mean, for most HR people in my role, it's been a pretty hectic sort of 12 weeks. So I haven't really stopped that much over the last 12 weeks, Mel. But I am really looking forward to taking a break, if I'm perfectly honest, and recharging the batteries and getting some downtime. I mean, our return to work strategy is now embedded and is really our return to work strategy is really about providing our people options, not mandates. We're going to apply a lag, don't lead policy. So government lifting restrictions isn't necessarily when we'll come back to our workplace, and it really provides us an opportunity to start with a blank piece of paper with our people, where we're currently pulsing the environment at the moment to ask our people how they want to return to work, what's important to them, what creates a safe and inclusive environment. And, it's a really important time for the organisation to listen and understand people's fears and emotions and concerns about returning to work. So we're going to be very careful and patient in our return. I must admit, at a personal level, Mel, I'm very much looking forward to the footy being back on TV. And it's great for our partner, the AFL, and our MKTG business that's kicking off on June 11. So I can't wait to watch the Demons run back out onto the MCG, a blight with no crowds. But I'm also hoping they have a much better season than last year now.
Well, you can dream. You can dream, Luke. Hey, thank you so much. I'm thrilled again to connect with you. I'm sure our HR and broader business community will really value the insights you've shared with us today. It's been a really busy and chaotic time, so I appreciate you taking the time out to join me today. Thank you.
You're really very welcome. Thanks, Mel.